The question of life after death is a very interesting one because everyone will die. The planet is a planet of death. Everything that has been born on this planet has died on this planet. Go back to the dinosaurs and they've all got wiped out, and so evolution evolves, and each age we are born and we go through our time, our passage of life, and then we don't exist anymore. It's like a puff of smoke, we're gone. Just an image. We are shadows. And this is what the hilarious thing is about understanding life after death. You realize that in your life you are here and it feels so important, and then you become a shadow of that former self when you pass over the other side. I think it's important to talk about the people you know, because the family members, the people who have passed on before you, you were brought up with them, and so to know them is to understand them. You understand what they were like in life, and so when you see them in death, you can make a comparison. When I became much more involved in this work, I had met my wife Natalia, and in the very early days we started working together because we had so many extra gifts than the other did. We shared these gifts, we integrated these gifts, and we communicated with many spirits from different dimensions, of which I can go into much later. But we're talking now about the understanding of family. And the first person who came to say to Natalia and myself that he approved of our union was my grandfather, Henry James Cook. And you know, he died when I was 13 years old. And he was a man of the earth, not an educated man, worked for the same company for 50 years. He would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be in the workplace at 6 to light the boilers. But you know, he had a heart of gold. And when he came back and honoured our union, that was marvellous, because he never came to honour my first marriage. He knew something, didn't he? What a clever clogs. You know, and people behind the scenes, they do know a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But my grandfather had liberated himself. He was not holding on to any unfinished business. He'd gone into the light. And from the light, he'd charged up his batteries and said, right, I'm going to pop back into the earth. The gravitational pull is not going to hold me down there for too long, so long as I know that I've got 10 minutes and then I have to leave. And that's what he did. He spent his time, he left, he moved on. My grandmother, when she died, she was much more difficult. She was much more complicated. Gypsy background, struggled no doubt most of her life because she was like me. She had to come to terms with gifts and things which in her time in Victorian England were discredited, so she could never really show her true colours, and she was secretly being a psychic, and that must have been very horrible for her, because she would have been ridiculed by people, she would have been humiliated by those in the church, she would have been looked at as a witch. Bearing in mind the repeal of the Witchcraft Act in England didn't happen until the 1950s, so by then she was an old lady, and she no doubt suffered a lot. But I know that when she did pass over, she eventually did go into restoration. And she would have been helped by her son Freddie, my uncle who was killed in the war. I've communicated with Freddie, who would have been my uncle, and I find his disposition very similar to myself. I communicate with his personality that comes through me. I can just feel so comfortable in my skin with him, in his spirit. There is so much alike. And so the assimilation of the ancestors, it comes across when you get the feeling of connection with those loved ones that are a part of your own family. So when you get over the other side, there is a support system. There are people there within the family to help. And there's also others who are advisors that know a thing or two that are not within the family.
There has not been one of my relatives of which I was brought up, my mother, my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, that I lived with as a child, not one has died without me seeing their immortal spirit. Not one has died without me seeing them as an embodiment as they once lived. They survived the grave, they live beyond the grave, and they live in realms which are parallel to this physical world. Just as if you open a curtain and they walk through, and once they are the other side, the curtain closes again. But when the curtain opens and they come and they show themselves, momentarily you see them in all their glory, in their radiance and beauty that you knew them in your childhood or at other times. That curtain we pass through many times.